Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Welcome to day 1120 before the Dirt Nap podcast. Hope you've all had a super fantastic sparkling day. I know I have. It has been incredible. And it looks like we're about to get another thunderstorm through. Yay! People are like, she nuts? Yes, absolutely. When it comes to thunderstorms, I love them, which is why with my the alteration I went down on my log cabin, when I built my log cabin, I have the picture, I have the floor plan. It took me a lot of years, but I finally found the exact one that I want. The only thing I am changing is the depth of the porch. It only has an 8-foot wide wraparound porch that goes 360 degrees around the log cabin. I want it about 10 to 12 feet deep, because when we have things like thunderstorms, I want to be able to sit snuggled up on my seat at the back with my back up against the log cabin and sit there wrapped up in a blanket if I need to be, or a comforter, whatever, with my feet up, cup of hot chocolate there if it needs to be, depending on the time of the year. If it's summertime, then we just want a glass of water. I'm just very plain. Glass of water, cup of tea, hot tea. It's got to be hot tea. I'm not a big fan of iced tea. And just watch the thunderstorm take place out over the lake. How cool. I mean, and being out there and be able to smell that rain. It's one thing I love about when it rains, and that is the smell of the rain. But to be outside enjoying it and protected at the same time. So that is my goal, and that is why I just love watching Mother Nature working. I mean, if you've seen the video I posted over the weekend of the lightning activity that was going on, I have never ever in my entire life seen lightning so active before. I mean, that was going. We were coming home and we drove down the street and we're like driving in towards this lightning, and it's just going flashes in front of us, flashing and bolts of lightning and everything else. And I managed to capture that video, and then we turned to the right, and now it's over to the left. Well, I couldn't see it on the phone, so I had to hit the stop button. Then when we got into the resort there, I turned it on and had it as I was driving around the resort, and then we got to here. I just wanted a small snippet, and we set out, and that was us just sitting for a minute outside in the car, and that was taking place in front of us. There was no thunder. It was all lightning. There was no thunder at all. It was just lightning. And Zeffie at one point starts whining, which is why in the video you hear me talking to her. But it was an hour before the rain came through. And but that was just amazing. And to be sitting on a protected porch where you just snuggled down and you're just sitting there watching Mother Nature put on this beautiful show in front of you is just an incredible experience. And it's one that I absolutely love. When we lived in an apartment building back in Virginia, we were 7 floors up and we overlooked Fairfax. And if there was a thunder and lightning storm coming, I don't know what Brad thought, but I had the windows open. I had my face pressed up against the screen. Now, if you can think, you're in an apartment building, no idea when those screens were last washed, cleaned, or whatever, and I'm standing there, face pressed up against this, so I could smell the rain coming, and I was watching forked lightning for the first time in my life, because in New Zealand we had a lot of flash lightning. I had never seen forked lightning in person, and so if there was a thunderstorm, that's where I was, with my nose pressed up against the screen, watching it coming towards us over the valley of Fairfax. It was amazing. And that's where part of the dream of having the log cabin and having that deep porch reasoning came in, was so we could watch the storms and everything. But anyway, tonight we are here to talk about, do you need to know how? Do you need to know how to do what? So have you set your big, hairy, audacious goal? What is a big, hairy, audacious goal? It is a goal that is crystal clear in your mind. You know that it's going to happen. You may not know how, which is fine, because we're going to talk about that tonight. But it's one of those goals. It's huge. You get chills when you think about it. It's clear, it's concise. It could be personal, it could be business, it could be life, whatever you want it to be. A big, hairy, audacious goal is, I was trying to find a definition for it. I was not having much luck finding a really good definition for it. Let's see if I can find one. These are, it's somewhere out in the distance. It's a massive goal that you're going to go after that's somewhere in the distance. And a lot of people don't set these goals because they have no idea how they're going to achieve them. And that's knowing the how. Now, I have a big, hairy, audacious goal, and that is to grow my company to $100 million in the next 10 years. And somebody even sent me this really cool pouch. I mean, Nanette, thank you. Here's my goal of $100 million. And in here, I actually have, okay, it's not real, but you want to know, I have $100 million bills sitting here and here, and I take it out every now and again, and I think, okay, I'm going to spend one of these $1 million today. How am I going to spend it? What am I going to use it for? And this helps inspire me to think of things. I've got $1 million I want to spend today. How am I going to spend it? Who am I going to give it to? How much is going to go to charity? How much of this is going to go and help somebody with a startup business? How much of this is going to go towards one of the business entities that we're having under the whole corporation and things? So I can physically say, okay, I'm going to spend $1 million today. What am I going to, oh, actually, no, today we might do 2 million, and things like that. So you can actually feel it, you can hold it, you can touch it. I'm kinesthetic. I got to have the fairly touchy thing. And so that sits in my pouch of $100 million. And I know I am going to achieve it. I have no idea how. And I was talking with my accountable, and one of the important things is having an accountability coach. And so I have an accountability coach. We meet every every Wednesday morning, and I talk about what goals I've achieved over the past week, and then set the goals for the next week. And so one of my goals was to work on different plans for this business, for the corporation and things. And I was sitting here, and I was percolating in the back of my mind, because sometimes I have to ask a question out loud to my spiritual counsel. And your spiritual counsel can be whatever you want it to be. So I spoke to my spirit and says, what am I going to do about this? Where do we go? Where do I even start to make these particular plans? And so that was percolating away in the back of the brain. And I was watching a video that had Bob Proctor in it. And he was talking about goals and goal setting and all that. And he turns around, and the question popped into my head, how am I going to grow how am I going to grow the business from what it is now to $100 million in less than 10 years? And it was like everything was in alignment. And as soon as I asked that question in my brain, Bob Proctor on the video said, you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to know it's going to happen. Don't get stuck on the how. Hold the image in your mind and enjoy the growth that occurs with awareness. And I was like, wait, what? And so I wound the video back, those few seconds, and replayed it again. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the answer to my question. I don't have to know how it's going to happen. I just have to know it's going to happen. Wow. And that for me was like, poof, mind blowing. It was a huge revelation. And so then I started thinking about, where did my book go? Oh, there it is. But I lost my book. Then it got me thinking about this, Think and Grow Rich. And some of the stories that are in here, and some of the stories that I watch in the movie, the Think and Grow Rich movie, they don't know how. They just know it's going to happen. And like the people that they use in there, like Edwin C. Barnes, one of the first people that you meet in Think and Grow Rich, his goal was to work with, not for, but with Thomas Edison as a business partner. He didn't know how it was going to happen, but he just had that belief that he was going to be a business partner with Thomas Edison. He hops on a train, he goes to where Thomas Edison is, he gets himself an appointment with the guy and says that he's come there to be in partnership with Thomas Edison. And they had this conversation, and sorry, dog here. They had this conversation, and he ended up working for Thomas Edison until the how became apparent. But during that time, he's listening. Edwin C. Barnes is listening to everything that's going on in the place. He's learning, he's growing, and when the opportunity presents itself, he's ready to say, "Here I am. Let's get this done." And I thought, that is really cool. Then Henry Ford, he didn't know how to build a V8 engine. He gave that assignment to his engineers to do because they needed, but he knew it could be done. He just didn't know how it could be done, but he knew it could be done. And he forced his engineers to keep working and working and working until they got the V8 engine done. But he knew it could be done. He just didn't know how. But, and here was another, the other cool story I love on this, which is a well-known story for those that are interested in Henry Ford and some of the stuff that he's been in. He actually sued the Chicago Tribune because they called him ignorant. And they got him up on the podium there, and they got him in the box in the court during the court case and stuff. And the lawyer for the Tribune, for the Chicago newspaper, was going, "Well, what was it? How many soldiers did this one cracks me up. How many soldiers did the British send over during the Revolutionary War?" And he just turns around and he goes, and Henry Ford turns around and goes, "Well, I don't know the exact number, but I know that they went home with a lot less than they came over with." That was a brilliant answer. Paraphrased, of course, because we paraphrase things. But he went on to tell people, "Look, I don't need to know that. I don't need to cram my brain with this general knowledge stuff." He says, "I've got a row of electronic buttons on my desk. If I need to know the answer to a question that I don't know, I just press one of those buttons and somebody comes and tells me the answer." And that is a very smart thing to do, because if you don't have to know how to do things, but you do need to know where to find the information. Are you looking around for the information? Who can help you get to where it is you want to go? Who can help you with the how? Who can help teach you the steps that you need to learn? And so then I started looking at other people. Some books that I've read over the years. Janine Shepherd. She didn't know how she was going to walk again. She was a world-class Olympic skier in Australia, and they were out on a bike ride when she got hit by a truck and ended up in hospital, paralyzed, unable to walk and everything else. She knew she was going to walk again. She just didn't know how or what her life was going to be after she did learn to walk. She knew she probably... in the book, the book's called Never Tell Me Never. It is an incredible story of overcoming obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Yes, she did end up walking again. Not only did she end up walking, but she knew she couldn't ski again. So what did she do? She learned to fly. Not only did she go and learn to fly, she got her commercial pilot's license. Not only did she get her commercial pilot's license, she got her instructor's license as well. So she actually, not only does she fly private planes and things, but she can also fly commercial, and she can teach people to fly. And like when she first got hit by that truck, she knew she was going to walk again. She just didn't know how it was going to happen, nor where her life was going to go after that. She didn't know the how. She didn't need to know the how. As she learned and as her mind developed and grew and opportunities came to her, she figured out the how. Bob Ansett, many of you may not know who he is. Bob Ansett is the son of, what was his name? Sir Reginald Ansett, who was the founder of the Ansett Airlines, which was an Australian airline company, one of the domestic airlines there. He had spent some time in America, goes back home like around in the mid-1960s with his wife and his 3 children, broke. He had no money. He goes and applies for a job at his father's company and got denied. So he went out and started he started a budget car rental agency in Melbourne, Australia. No idea, very little business knowledge, no idea how he was going to do it, what it was going to take, very little money investing, and no real business knowledge. But he understood one thing. As he went on, he realized what the other companies were missing, and he started focusing in on that. At the time when he first started the business, he didn't know how it was going to happen or where it was going to go. He learned along the way. And our favorite one of all times is Richard Branson. If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure how you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. So many people miss out on opportunities because they say, oh, I don't know anything about that. Say yes, then figure it out. I didn't know how I was going to do 360. Well, when I was first challenged to do Facebook Lives every day for a year, I didn't know how I was going to do 365 Facebook Lives a year. I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about? Well, you're traveling around in an RV. I'm like, okay. And then I realized that 2020 was a leap year, so it was actually 366 days I had to go for. And I was like, okay. But I just figured it out along the way. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. What did we do today? Oh, we traveled here, we traveled there. We did some lives along the. Sorry, I got a hair bugging me. We did some lives along the way on some of the road journeys that we were on, saying, hey, look at this fantastic view. Isn't it gorgeous? We had some challenges today driving. This is what the challenge was. This is how we got over it. We learned and grew. I made the decision to go, to sell everything and go live in an RV. What did I know about RVing? All I knew about RVing was just being in a caravan or a trailer camper. Growing up as a kid, and my parents would pack it. We had these 3 drawers that were underneath the table. The table was a concertina one that was 3-folded, and you'd pull it out, and then you would sit on the bench seats on either side, which were also single beds, doubled as single beds. And then there was storage underneath. And there was 3 drawers on this table stand, and each of us kids got 1 drawer to put in there our clothes for however long we were going. And we each had a drawer. And that was basically all I knew. And then Mum and Dad would pack up the rest of the thing. They had all their stuff in there. And off we would tootle and go off camping and everything. I knew nothing about towing. My dad taught me to drive. He never taught me how to tow. Never taught me how to tow a trailer or how to back up a trailer or anything like that. And so when it came to the RVing, I was like, okay, I want one of these, either a C or a Class C or a Class A. Ended up with a Class A. I had never driven one when I bought this thing. I had to figure out how to do it. I got shown once how to hook up the sewer line, how to hook up the power line. And I go to hook up the power line to realize that my cable was not going to fit in the box. I was like, oh, now what do I do? So Walmart is a great place for RVers. They actually have an RV area in there where they have some supply, basics, which was good. So off I went so I put everything away, jumped in my car. Actually, first of all, I got the lift to come and pick me up from the campground because I had to go back to the RV seller's place because my car was sitting there. And from there, I went to Walmart, which was just down the street from where I purchased the RV. And I had my list and I went shopping. And I got the cable converter that took it from a 50 amp plug down to a 30 amp plug. And then that night, I learned very quickly what appliances and lights I could have on at the same time that wouldn't blow the box, that wouldn't shut the box down. I knew I had to have and I also got myself a surge protector as well. But yeah, there were times that I blew the box because I was going over the 30 amps. Excuse me. So I very quickly had to learn what I could have on at the time that would stop me blowing that circuit all the time. It's a big. I'm still, 3 years later, I'm still learning about RVs. I have a piece peeling off the top of where the roof curves down to the windshield. That's all peeling off. I've got no idea what that's called. No idea how to replace it. I'm going to have to figure it out. And I've been coming up with ideas on how to insulate my RV better, so I'm not having to rely on the air conditioning so much. Well, the air conditioning doesn't have to run as often. It still has to run, but just not as often because it would hold the temperatures a lot easier. So I'm learning how to do that. I've got a awning that's ripped. What do I do with that? I'm calling the repair guy for that one. I am not messing around with awning slides, but it's knowing how knowing that my capabilities doesn't cover figuring out how to put an awning on a slide. It's knowing here's the number to call and getting them to come out and look at it and fix it. It's like I have to reseal the top. That I could do it, but why? This one I'm actually for resealing the roof and all of that, because I need all the seals around the different stuff that's up there to be replaced as well at the same time, and to look for any cracks and all of that. I'm getting somebody in to do that because I know my capabilities and I know I would start getting it done and sort of like give up halfway through, and then it would sit for like a couple of weeks before the rest of it got done. Yeah, no. We're just going to get somebody to come in and do it all. But knowing how, or who, in this case, who to call. So when you're doing anything in life, you may not know how to do something. You figure it out. There are a lot of, it's really cool because I'm watching a lot of different TikToks, videos of people who are converting like old school buses, minivans, and things into their home, or full-size vans into homes on wheels, into RVs and things. They said, we don't know what we're doing. We're just figuring out as we go along. They don't know how they're going to do it. They're figuring it out as they go. And I think that's so cool. And people who have built tiny homes, they didn't know how to build one. They learned. We don't have to know how. We just have to know we can. And if we know it's something beyond our capabilities, like replacing an awning on the slide out in an RV, as long as you know who to call, we're good. That's the cool part. But you don't have to know how to go after a goal. Just say yes, then figure it out. How do I build a $100 million company? I have absolutely no idea. Am I going to do it? Absolutely. How am I going to do it? I need to get the mindset has to be right to go after it. I have the right mentors and coaches in place right now that can help me learn and grow and make strides towards that goal. So I don't have to worry about the how. I just have to worry about the next step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you go after a big, hairy, audacious goal? One step at a time. And the other, I didn't bring the other book out. There's a book called, have you ever, Richard Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is a really good book to read. And then he's got a follow-up book to that, which is the cash flow quadrant. And the cash flow quadrant is on the left side, you have an employee and a business owner, self-employed, employee and self-employed. And on the right-hand side is a business owner and an investor. The idea is to get from the left side to the right side. The right side, everything takes care of itself. The left side, you have to be present in order to earn the money. So now when I make a decision for my business, I look at the, because it's sitting right here on my desk, I look at my goal and I think, is what I'm doing going to help me achieve that goal? And is it going to move me from the right side to the left side? Those are the two questions that I'm asking myself right now. Is it going to help me achieve that goal? And is it going to take me from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant? And that's how I'm making decisions right now, especially when it comes to business decisions or anything like that. Is it going to help me get that goal? And is it going to take me from the left to the right? Yeah, left to the right. So, like I said, you don't have to worry about how. So if you're worried about going after that huge, hairy, audacious goal that you have, that one that's deep down inside, it could be you want to own. Like Brad turned around one day and he says, "What would it take to own an NFL team?" I said, "I have no idea." I said, "Let's figure it out." I said, "Which one do you want to own?" He's like, "I don't know." I says, "Okay." And, it was a big, hairy, audacious goal. He had no idea how to do it. He had no idea how to manage an NFL team. He had no idea what was involved in owning one. But, it was a big, hairy, audacious goal. And he wanted to go after it. And I was like, let's do it. It was one of those, and he says, "Oh, no. I was just wondering." I says, "Why not go for it?" No. And so he started coming up with the excuses. I says, "We'll figure it." I says, "We don't have, we'll figure it out as we go." And at that point, I had just finished reading one of Richard Branson's books, and I says, "Look, Richard Branson's in his book, say yes, and then figure it out." And he's like, "Oh, okay." I said, "So look into what does it take to own an NFL team? What does it take to manage an NFL team? What's involved with being an owner of an NFL team?" And so that was his little project, to go out and research this. I give him questions every now and again. I go, "How's this going?" We'll revisit it every few months and whatnot. And he'd tell me the next step that he had come across, or something new that he had learned about it, and things like that. So that was his big, hairy, audacious goal, was to be the owner of an NFL team. He didn't know which one he wanted. He didn't know what was involved with how to purchase one. He didn't know what it would take to be an owner. He didn't know anything. He just knew he liked his football. He had his favorite teams. And that was about it. He could probably rattle off some of the player stats or tell you which were the good receivers, the good quarterbacks. I gotta remember what positions are on a football team. He could probably tell you the best ones in the different positions. He liked playing fantasy football, so he could tell you who the best players were in different positions, what the best player was for his team and the ones that he wanted on his team and that sort of thing. And but when it came to the admin side of it, like managing a team or owning a team or anything like that, he had no clue. And so I was just like, go figure it out. So I was all for it. If he wanted to own an NFL team, I would back him the whole way. I would be there to support his dream, support him. You know, if he wanted to go after it, we would have figured it out. And so he, of course, didn't go after it. But he had fun learning the bits that he did learn. And that was cool. And we got him in front of some of the right people as well. So, you know, you never know. What is your big, hairy, audacious goal that you just don't want anybody to know about because you're scared that somebody like me will come along and go, so what's stopping you? Say yes, then we'll figure it out. You don't have to know the how. You will learn that along the way. So what is stopping you? Go write. Here is your challenge for today, is to go write out your biggest goal that you have. It could be anything you want it to be. Time and money has no boundaries when you're writing out a big, hairy, audacious goal. You're going to go, and then you have to make the decision, and then you have to write it out in detail. Like I have you've all heard about my mind map. I tell you, that mind map is full of details. It's not like all completely written out like a journaling with an entry in it. It's got, this is what's there, then we've got this, and then we've got this. They're like little one sentences things. Some people, and in my journal, I do have more details written in the journal. I have the key details on the mind map. So the mind map is made up of the key details. The journal has the details. But now I'm looking to furnish my my log cabin now that I know the floor plan. Now I have the actual physical picture of the outside. I can now go furnish the inside and figure out what I want on the porch and how I want my conversation areas set up and that sort of stuff. And so yeah, just go dream. I haven't told you this one. Part of this dream is also to have a family compound. Is that we'll have the main house, and then each of the kids will have their own place, and we move around the compound in golf carts or cars. But golf carts will be fine. But we've got enough space between us that each family has their own privacy. And it could be a vacation place. It could be a place to live. Don't know, because I don't know where it's going to be located yet. Haven't figured that one out yet. But, you know, we'll just have fun. We'll have a playground there for all the cousins to go and play together. And we'll have a picnic pavilion where we could have family cookouts and all that sort of stuff. And I've got it all written out. I have a lot of things written out. I have notebooks upon notebooks of full of dreams and goals and ideas and everything else. And I actually have boxes of journals with different ideas in them, whether they be business ideas, personal ideas, things I want to do, things I don't want to do, trips I want to go on, before the Dirt Nap Adventures. I've even got a whole bunch of ideas in there for that. I have to locate that box. I think I'll just start from scratch on that one. But anyway, so it's all about saying yes, then taking the journey to figure out how. So your challenge this evening is go and see how big you can dream. How big can your dream be? Set a goal to go for it, and you'll figure out the how along the way. And if you don't remember, just remember this quote from Bob Proctor, which says, you don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to know it's going to happen. Don't get stuck on the how. Hold the image in your mind and enjoy the growth that occurs with awareness. And to help hold the image in your mind, you can do dream journals, you can do vision boards, whatever, photo albums made up of pictures and everything, just however it is that will keep that image in front of you, if you want to do it that way, or write out in a journal. And I will tell you this, pen to paper, there is actually proven scientific fact that you actually remember or retain more when pen is put to paper. There's a connection between the writing and the brain that helps you remember things more, helps with visualization and everything else because you're writing down your goals. So go write down your goals. I know some people are going to try and go, well, I'm going to type it anyway. That's fine, as long as you get it written down. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. I'm going to go take a puppy for WALK. She's got her ears turned listening. She's waiting for me to say the last bit. We will be back on, let's see, tomorrow's Thursday, so it'll be 7 p.m. tomorrow we're going to be on. I have a mastermind class, and then I have a mastermind meeting, and then I also have to walk the dog before it gets too late. So we'll be on at 7 p.m. tomorrow. What's our topic for tomorrow? I don't know. I'll figure it out between now and then. But go out, have a super fantastic sparkling rest of your evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Hei konera.